Hello, can everyone see me? Hello. All right. Okay. Um, all right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this webinar on cold email outreach for B2B marketing and lead generations. Thank you for spending some time with us today. And before we start, let me explain how you can actually talk to us during this webinar. Just in case if you have any questions during these presentations, just write in the chats, all right? And we will have Q&A sessions at the end of this webinar to answer all the questions that you have, all right? So, and just for your information, this video webinar is going to be recorded, and after today, we are going to share to you the recorded version of this webinar, as well as the slide that we are going to use we are using in this slide as well. All right. So there'll be two things. One is the video of this webinar, and also the slides of this webinar will be emailed to you as well. Okay. So, all right. So I guess just give ourselves another, perhaps another 2 or 3 more minutes to get more people to join in. All right. So just another 2 more minutes, perhaps. Okay. I guess without further ado, I think we can actually get started right now. All right, so again, for those who are just joined in, just take note that this webinar is going to be recorded, and we are going to share to you the link that you can actually replay on demand basis with your colleague or relevant persons to actually understand further how or the sharing further, you know, what this webinar is all about. And again, the slide of this webinar is going to be emailed to you as well. So there'll be two things: video recording as well as the PowerPoint presentation of this what do we call the webinar. All right. So okay. My name is Travis Saw, a regional consultant of Wave Evolution. So Wave Evolution has been established in 2007, which is close to 13 years right now. And we have been providing email marketing services for more than 13 years to SME all the way to large corporates in Southeast Asia and Hong Kong. All right, mainly is still pretty much in Malaysia, Singapore, and Hong Kong. All right, notable one would be like whatever you can see from these slides, company like Grab, Singtel, Fujitsu, and public service from both Malaysia and Singapore. And even Google in the past, they have acquired some kind of data solutions, B2B data marketing solutions from us as well in the past. All right. So, and we are generating an average of over than 10 million email in a month, mainly to all audience between Malaysia, Singapore, and Hong Kong at this moment. All right. So, but more importantly, today's sessions, I'm going to share with you how you can actually use the email channel in B2B marketing to generate even more leads, to drive results fast, to further improve the top line and bottom line of your business. All right, with a proven and tested strategy in possibly 60 minutes. All right, so, and I'm going to try to finish it in 60 minutes or less. And together with Q&A is going to take possibly 1.5 hours. So by 11:30, I guess we can actually finish off these sessions. Okay. So another things that I would like to highlight, more importantly, I'm going to actually share with you some secrets and how you can even find the top CEO email addresses, direct email addresses, completely at your own, so that you can actually reach out to the right persons at scale for outbound sales prospecting purpose. All right. So let me go back to my slide. Just a moment. Okay. Okay. What actually is cold email? So let me put it in this way. Cold call, all right, is similar to cold email, all right, whereby in the past 5 to 10 years ago, so perhaps you might be sitting down there if you're a sales and marketing person. So you might be sitting down there and make a cold calling to perhaps a day, we are talking about 50 or 60 people to call to randomly, you know, to a target audience of your business, and you're trying to sell something. All right, put it in this way, cold email is similar to cold call in a way that you just replace the call with email channel. All right, so that is a little bit of how we define cold email in a way. All right, that means you send out to someone that you identify is your ideal customer profile, or we call it ICP. You identify ICP already, your target audience, and you send out a cold email to them to actually to promote possibly some product and services of your own, or perhaps some kind of JV partnerships or whatsoever. So that is what cold email is all about. Okay, let me share you another screen right here. I'm sure, okay, I'm sure you have seen something like that in the mailbox for the past 7 days or 1 month, you know, for something like that. You know, so that is what we are going to talk about today, how you can actually utilize this type of email campaign to generate more leads and more opportunity for your business, all right? So, and this type of cool email, it seems to know your company name, okay, and it even know your name, and perhaps even a job title. And more importantly, I would say, it perhaps the pain point or challenges that you're currently facing. Okay, so they send in random to you, and it looks like it's a one-to-one communication between this person sending direct to you. But actually, they are sending out at scale. That means not just you, but perhaps you're the CEO of a company. They are sending to another CEO at perhaps another 1,000 CEO, you know, somewhere. All right. So that is one example of cold email. But of course, this is just a plain text content. It could be a HTML-based content, which we can actually talk about that later. Okay, so now here is among the key takeaway of today's sessions. First thing, I would like to share with you the ideas, okay, because perhaps some of you might be too new to cold email. What is that all about, right? So we are going to actually share with you some of the use cases or some ideas of how you can actually use this email channel or cool email channel to actually to generate leads and so on. Okay, and secondly, before you even start the cold email, you must identify the ICP, all right, ideal customer profile, all right. So there's some certain formula or framework how we can actually generate our own ICP in a way, all right. So, and thirdly, where to find a list of prospects, all right, database, the email database. That is the most important section for today webinar, I would say, because I'm going to disclose to you, all right, some ways. Just now I promised how you can actually get even the top CEO or any ICP or decision maker in your own target audience, that you can actually get the email of him or her and send out an email message to this group target audience and to promote your product and services. Okay, so and number 4 is about how you can actually craft the effective email message to reach out to this group of prospect that you already collected. So it's all about email copywriting, and together with some psychology part of it, how you can actually get a response, out of whatever email that you send out to, right? And lastly, I would like to highlight one thing. Follow-up strategy is important. A lot of email marketing, they tends to give out on a very first email campaign that they send out. For example, they send out a first email campaigns to perhaps 10,000 email, and then come back and say, hey, I'm just getting 5 people to respond to me. All right, I'm going to tell you the reason why you're not getting enough response from there, and how you can actually implement this follow-up strategy to actually get even more response, and how to optimize your email campaign further to get you even more leads. All right, so that would be the 5 topics that is going to take around 60 minutes per day. And yeah, I hope that after that is going to inspire you, to give you some new ideas and new insights, how you can actually leverage on cold email to actually do generate even more leads or more business for your company, right? Okay, so this is a slide that I would like to share. Is some research that has been done by Content Marketing Institute, that it shows that B2B marketer, I would like to highlight B2B marketer, it's not B2C, all right? B2B marketer tends to use email channel to distribute their content more than any other channel, all right? That has been done by Content Marketing Institute, all right? So, and secondly, I just ask between you and me, ourselves, all right? Well, what are the first thing that you clock in the office? What are the first thing that you do? All right, just think back. All right, so I guess once we open up a laptop, I guess the first thing is checking email, right? So your target audience, I mean your B2B target audience, like you and me, we are the target audience of some company, right? So the first thing that we are going to do is, when we clock into our office, is email rather than social media, whatever, Instagram or Facebook, so whatever, right? So B2B audience is still pretty much on email, and your audience is there, all right? So sending out email can actually help you to capture a reach, impressions, and so on, all right? So this is some statistics and so on, all right? And of course, these slides is pretty much some summary of what we are going to talk about today also, all right? How we can actually formulate a good email outreach campaign and so on, all right? And of course, a very first section is I would like to share with you how you can actually come up with an objective with some use cases and also some ideas, and how you can actually perform your own cold email outreach campaign. All right, so that will be some 5 little bit of ideas. All right, so I'm going to go through one by one. Apparently, the first thing is a lot of people they come to us for B2B marketing is cold email marketing is basically for lead generations. Okay, for lead generations, you want sales, all right? You're prospecting, all right? You want to reach out to the right persons to actually get them to actually to buy your products, for example, all right? So apparently, a very clear reason for cold email campaign is to generate leads for your business. Okay, so it depends on how you set the ICP, ideal customer profile, and how to get the data, and how you craft a message, and how to follow up, and you improve the sales revenue of your company. So apparently that is a very straightforward reason for lead generations when we think about this cold email campaign. Of course, I would like to highlight the second point. As you can see here, partnerships. Okay, what do I mean by partnership here is basically it's channel marketing in a way that how you can actually utilize cold email to actually to somehow reach out to your reseller, your affiliates, your JV company, etc., etc., to basically to bring your products to their own customer. All right. So this group of JV partner or affiliates could be sharing the same customer profile as yours that you want to leverage on their network and to sell a product further to their own customer, to their customer. Right. So you can actually use cold email again to reach out to all these a network of reseller and to form some kind of JV or I don't know, licensing or franchisee or whatsoever, so you can actually have a kind of cool email to actually reach out to more. All right, just let me give you one example. Let's say, for example, you are a manufacturing company, let's say in Malaysia, all right, that you might have some products that you want to export across the whole of Southeast Asia, for example. And your ICP, your customer, your target audience could be the e-commerce seller or perhaps some distributor or retailer in this region, all right? Perhaps you want to start with Thailand, Vietnam, and Indonesia. All right, it's quite costly to actually set up a call center right in your office and hire people of different nationality, speaking a different slang and speaking a different language and talk to all these people, right? And more importantly, there's limitations to what human can do, right? 50 or 60 call per day and finish, all right? So there's a limitations. And you can, the first thing is you can actually find a list of all those distributor or so-called retailer or the what do we call a company who handle import exports if in all these countries like Thailand, Vietnam, and Indonesia, and so on, right? Okay, and send out a cool email to them to say, hey, are you looking at to actually to to distribute our product in your own country and blah blah blah, all right? And if yes, then can we have a 15-minute call to actually speak about this? So that is a strategy how we can actually leverage on cold email. And I'm not talking about 50 or 60 per day. We could be talking about 5,000 to 6,000 email per day. All right. And those who responded to you perhaps is where you can actually save your resources by talking to those people who responded to you. Okay. So that is one of the channel marketing that you can leverage on cold email. All right. To perform this channel marketing approach. Okay, so next, I would like to highlight the if your company is organizing any webinar like today or any seminar in the past and so on, that the clear benefit of webinar and seminar is to establish your authority in your own industry. Okay, and secondly, you are actually soft selling. All right, it's not hard selling direct to sell solutions. By cold calling or whatsoever. It's a softer way to actually sell solutions. All right. So webinar is a proven. Email channel is proven to be one of the top tactics. Proven to be the top tactics to drive registrations to webinar and seminar. Okay. So and secondly, you may consider social media, or perhaps Google and so on. But I would say email and social media is top channel to drive registrations to the event. Okay, just like ourselves, this session today, more than 90% of the registrations coming from email alone. All right, although we do open up to actually advertise in social media and so on. All right, but more than 90% coming from email. I guess you know us from email, right? All right. So because we know where to get data, we know how to find the data, we know how to craft email, and we know how to perform the follow-up strategy that we are going to cover in this webinar as well. All right, and we have a strategy on how to drive registrations to webinar and seminar. All right, so yeah, that is one of the channels that you can actually use to drive registrations if you're organizing any webinar, and seminar to establish your so-called your authority in your own industry. Okay, so let's move on. All right, hiring and recruitment. All right, it's a little bit more creative strategy, but people are using it. All right, okay, so that means you might want to actually to send out a cool email to reach out to so-called hard to reach talents and get them to join your team in a way. All right, it works like that. For example, perhaps you are looking for someone who are really expert in certain field which is too niche to find. You couldn't get such application if you just advertise in JobStreet, Jobs TV or whatsoever. You can't get applications, right? What you can do, right? Okay, so for example, if you are targeting to hire data scientists, all right, who has knowledge in Python and using Tableau and Hadoop software for the past 5 years. All right, so this kind of person is quite actually hard to find. All right, so what you can do is you can actually simply go to for example LinkedIn. All right, type some certain keyword, and you still have a chance to actually hit out to all these top talents in the market, right? And you can find them. Okay, but unfortunately, I guess the one thing is you might basically send them some kind of private message on LinkedIn, and basically hope that they will reply to you. Okay, but most likely these kind of people, they are a little bit too busy to check their LinkedIn until when they are free. Okay, or perhaps they check email more often than they check the private message in LinkedIn, right? So cold email is where you can actually reach out direct to them to get immediate response, to your so-called job advertisement or job invitations and so on, right? So this is just some ideas that you can actually leverage how you can actually bring cold email outreach campaigns onto your organizations, all right? And finally, SEO. All right, what does it mean by SEO, right? It's search engine optimization in long. So it's a practice to bring your websites onto a top ranking in Google, all right? And in SEO, right, there's one important element of SEO, which is link building. Okay, so it's a little bit technical, but I'll just try to put it in a layman's explanations. All right, so link building is all about getting other people websites to link back to your websites. All right, when Google then recognize that there's a lot of links that link back to you, then they push your ranking higher. So that's just some simple idea why link building is essential in SEO effort, right? Okay, so now to actually reach out to thousands of webmasters everywhere in the world, all right? And apparently those webmaster or website owner, they wouldn't put their telephone number there. You couldn't call them or you couldn't reach out to them. It's just too hard to reach. What you can do, email them, all right? So you can actually get a list of email of those webmaster and send out email, a personalized email, and tell them, hey, can we have some kind of link exchange and so on, right? So you can actually what do we call use cool email to build your SEO rankings through link building, okay, to reach out to a massive amount of what do we call the webmaster, okay, to actually to do whatever you want them to do. All right, so this is another idea that you can do. That there's plenty more idea. Like for example, you might want to actually reach out to, like for example, news reporters for PR purposes. So you might want to actually distribute your contents to all those, so that your content will be published on those media and so on, right? So you can actually leverage on cool email as well. So with that, these sections, I hope that it bring you some kind of informations, some new ideas, how we can actually leverage on cool email to perform B2B marketing, okay, at your own, right? So yeah, all right. Now, this is a sections about the prospect, right? So now, just now I mentioned about the ICP, ideal customer profile. In brief, ICP, let me explain again, is you have to do it first, all right? So ICP is similar to like a buyer persona in B2C marketing. So how we can actually profile your customer and to do a laser targeted marketing, okay, to allow you to do a laser targeted marketing to reach out to a right persons for your business, all right? So, and this is a framework that we suggest you, a very basic framework of how you can actually use it. And of course, a very first step is to always find from your own sales data. It could be from a CRM system or whatsoever. You can actually get some idea. Just extract out and then do some data analytics using Excel formula and you will be able to actually identify a certain attributes of this, what do we call, ICP, to create ICP of your business. All right, so standard attribute would be like, for example, by industry, all right, by geographical locations, business size, annual revenue, number of employee, job title, and so on. Okay, let's say I would rather give an example, all right? I would rather give an example. Let's say, for example, I am a software company, all right? I'm selling some kind of software, and my target audience is basically the retail, manufacturing, and technology company, all right? My top three business segments. And it's actually, in terms of geography, it could be from Southeast Asia, all right, all the countries in Southeast Asia, and the employee size must be 200 people and above, all right, 200 people and above. And followed by the last one is there must be IT manager and above, all right. So that is how I actually see from my past sales data, and we come up with these attributes, all right. So there's one example. And what is next? I would like to highlight one thing: buying committee. Okay, buying committee is important to put under considerations when you create the ICP. Okay, what does it mean by that? All right, and buying committee is basically, I will put it into a 3 category. Okay, decision maker, influencer, and blocker. I will focus more about decision maker, influencer, by the way. Okay, decision maker is basically those top level decision maker in an organization of job function. In this case, just now I give you the example, IT manager of manufacturing and retail and so on. All right. They are typically the CTO, CIO, chief technology officer, chief information officer, or head of IT, top level. All right. So sitting on the top in IT functions. All right. And influencer, it could be a lower rank people. It means IT executive, that kind of functions. Okay, I would suggest you to target decision maker plus influencer. Okay, reason why is very clear that influencer would, IT executive level would have more free time, perhaps have more free time to actually to see what you are trying to propose to them, right? They have more free time to actually to digest the email that you send over to them and to consider solutions and to propose to your boss, hey boss, actually this software is good, I see this email, I think this solution is good for our company that will help us to improve blah blah blah, solve this problem and ABC, right? So that is why reaching out to influencer is critical to the success of your account-based marketing. All right. So account-based marketing means you want to reach out to a certain organizations to actually to promote your solutions. You want to enter that account. All right. It's not just about reaching out to decision maker. That's all. You sometimes decision maker, I would say many times decision maker are too busy. Yeah, they're too busy, and they usually delegate. All right, delegate the task to find a new vendor to a lower rank like executive level and so on. Right. So it's quite hard to actually reach out and talk direct to CTO or HRIT and so on. So you must reach out to both decision maker and influencer to sell the solutions at the same time, so that you have a more opportunity or hit, to that organization to consider solutions. So buying committee is important. And of course, a blocker is typically those like finance and purchasing who think that your solution is too expensive or whatsoever, that don't want you. All right. So of course, don't send to a blocker. All right, so decision maker and influencer should be under consideration in a way. All right, so now I would like to put up over here, because sometimes we cannot be too greedy in a way that we just want to target all the industry or all the job functions and so on, right? Or all the country, and so on. Develop a rating system or prioritizing your marketing efforts by perhaps by best fit, good fit, and bad fit. Or you want to put it in a way that tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, or whatever you want to define it, right? So idea behind is you should put your focus in terms of resources, your the follow-ups, your efforts, your budgets on those perhaps a top two tier, all right, of your ICP group, all right. So perhaps in my case is just now I mentioned a software house. Perhaps I want to target the manufacturing company as the top priority, and followed by the retail as the second priority, and perhaps technology is my third priority. I just want to put aside first, all right. So I can actually group by the what do we call the industry segments, all right, in that way. Or perhaps I want to group based on geographic locations. Like for example, I just want to target Malaysia and Singapore first, all right, rather than all the country in Southeast Asia, all right. So this is how you can actually develop the what do we call a grouping, all right, and yeah, to actually prioritize and align your resources and strategy, all right, rather than just target everyone, all right. And finally, this is very important. You must know the needs and why you want to reach out to this group of ICP. Okay, for example, is how to say you must recognize the pain point, you know, or so-called challenges that these ICP they are facing, and this allows you to craft a better message to target them. All right, so understand the needs and why of this ICP by group would allow you to get even more response from these email campaigns. All right, so let me proceed with the next slide. Okay, in this example, right, in this slide, right, I'm going to tell you how you can actually instantly launch your cool email campaign. But due to time limits, all right, so I'm going to share with you what do we have in these sessions. All right, so typically what we have on our solutions here is we are the B2B list broker, in a way that we have a data solutions that we can actually segment our data based on industry, you know, revenue, job functions, and etc., and locations, right? That will allow you to have an immediate access to a data to perform a cold email outreach right away. Okay, right away. All right. So what do we have here? Okay, because in this room, right, there's attendees from both Singapore and Malaysia. So I would just put up both slides that concern the most. All right. All right. So let's start with Singapore first. Okay. What you can see from this slide, right, on the left, right, you can see a list of by job functions. What do we have by job functions? Which is like, for example, in Singapore alone, we have a CXO level, which is all the way 17K across all industry and so on, business size and so on. HR 4.9K, IT 8.7K, and so on and so on. All right. And of course, with these resources, you can even filter based on, like, for example, you just want to reach out to CXO of retail or and technology company from Singapore, which is over than 200 staff. All right, we can actually help you to find it. So eventually it comes down from 17 all the way to 5K, for example. And this 5,000 data that we allow you to actually leverage on it, whether on a sales basis, that means we sell to you, or on a rental basis that you can actually rent our list and reach out to this 5,000 immediately. Okay, immediately. All right. So, and secondly, what you can see on the right-hand side is just in case if you're not being selective of your target audience, that means your target audience could be any PMEB, or how we define is professional, manager, executive, and business people. If your target audience is any PMEB in Singapore, we have as much as 50,000 contacts that we can actually distribute or disseminate your email content to as large as 50,000 email contacts. Okay, so that's for Singapore. What about Malaysia, right? Okay, it's similar way that you can see CXO again is 5.9K, you know, and so on and so on. All right, and again we can also filter by, for example, finance, you know, bank and insurance company CXO, you know, and company size of over 200 people, you know, and more importantly in Malaysia, you can actually segment by states, right? For example, those who are in Kuala Lumpur and Selangor only, for example, okay, if you want to. All right, and secondly, on the right hand side, you can see we have up to as much as 100K, 100,000 PMEB in Malaysia, that if you just target any ICP, all right, so it could be suitable for you to actually leverage on this huge amount of data to actually do a marketing and promotion, all right, through email, all right. So now we do have a little bit for Hong Kong, all right. So but I'm not including in this slide, all right. So and finally, I would like to highlight one thing, all right. We don't own the data of just anyone in the world, right? So after all, we have only a data from Malaysia and Singapore, right, as well as Hong Kong. So what are the other alternative solutions that we can actually help you if your ICP is outside from these two countries, for example? Okay, so we have two solutions, which we call it a data scraping. What do I mean by data scraping? Is basically data mining. Okay, data mining means we go all over the web, the internet resources, and to find the email addresses of your ICP by some certain data mining. Okay, by some certain data mining process. Okay, so now there are two strategies here I would like to share. I would like to share with bulk email search first, right? So, okay, bulk email search is in a way that you can see from this chart, right, or this slide, there's a machine, which is our software, that we can turn one single email. In this example is domain2.com, all right? And we can actually go all over the web and find any email associated with domain2.com and find like David Tang, Jane Wong, blah, 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 under that domain, okay? We can copy down in massive scale, all right? And same goes to domain one, and we can find all the email addresses under that domain. Another word I would like to put it simply, if you have a list of like 100 domain name of your target audience, we can turn into 10,000 email easily. Okay, very simply, 100 domain, we can turn into 10,000 email under this, coming from this 100 domain. Okay, so keep it simple in that way. But what is the use case of this data, right? So there are two use cases I would like to share with you, all right, how to use this kind of data, all right? First is geo-targeting or locations targeting. I would like to highlight how does it work is basically, okay, rather than I explain, I give you some example, all right? So previously we do have clients that their business is very much very localized, and their target audience is within certain locations, within certain vicinity locations. And this company organizations, they are based in Orchard Road in Singapore, whereby they want to target those people who are working in Orchard Road area. Just that, okay, nothing out from that. All right, so they actually come to us, then they are looking for this kind of solution. Hey, how we can help me, you know? So one example is one of the way that we apply this thing is we go all over the web, including Google Map and so on, and some directory, you know, search engine and so on. We find a domain name of those company, a website URL of those company who has their office in Orchard Road area, all right? And now we have a list of perhaps 1,000 domain name, right? Okay, or 100 domain names in that area, okay? And from these 100 domain name, we can turn into 10,000 email, all right? Those 10,000 users, apparently they are working in Orchard Road area, nothing else, all right? So we can actually help them to actually send a marketing message by geolocations targeting, right? In that way, okay? So this is one idea that you can possibly see whether you can apply into your marketing or not, all right? And secondly, I would like to highlight is specific industry targeting. Also, another example I would like to share is we have a client who are providing sanitizing services, all right? So because after the lockdown, you know, business reopenings, you know, so a lot of retailers and hotels and restaurants, you know, they need these solutions to sanitize their shops and restaurants and so on, right? Okay, so, and our client, they want to actually reach out to this only restaurant, okay? Only restaurant, hotel, or so on. right, in Singapore. All right, we apply the same strategy and we go all over the Google Map, business directory, and so on. And we find a list of all those 100 or 200 domains of those cafe and restaurant, okay, in Singapore. And from here, with this, 100 or 200 domains, we turn into another 10,000 email, right, in that way. All right, so apparently these 10,000 are who? Restaurant, all right, restaurant people. And restaurant, typically, they are not big, all right? They are just, the user is, it could be less than, 10 people who are using that. So you could possibly reach out to the owner itself, all right, with this strategy to promote your solutions. Okay, so that is a specific industry. Then, of course, you can actually targets like retails, so you can actually do it that way also, all right? So there is some two ideas of how we can actually leverage on this cool email using this bulk scrapping to reach out to your ICP or target audience, okay? So now next one is pretty important. Of course, a lot of businesses, they just don't want to target just anyone in the company, right? So they want to target a specific profile audience by job functions, by industry or business size, and so on. Perhaps you might want to target like all the CDO in Australia listed company, right? So we can actually help you to find that kind of data also. Here is the slides. So I would like you to actually to put 100% of focus on this, because just now I promised you one thing, how you can find the top CEO email at your own, right? So just look closely on this slide. Okay, here's how it works and how we do it, right? Okay, that you can apply at your own, all right? We leverage on the data from LinkedIn, okay? So even a private account, your personal account, LinkedIn account, you can actually type like CDO in Singapore or everywhere, so you can actually have a list of all those profile that's shown up, all right, all right? And in each profile, when you click in, you will see this information, this page, where LinkedIn will share with you three informations, which is the name of the person, the job title, and the company name, right? So with these three information, typically our software can actually somehow automate on an automated basis. We copy down, all right? We copy down, and these three information. But one thing, all right, we based on the company name, right? In this case, we give Amazon. Okay, in this case, Amazon, we would find what is the email patterns or formats of Amazon employee. Okay, we will first find what is the patterns everywhere in the world, all right? So on the internet resources. In this case, we have found that the email pattern is actually first name, last name, first letter, followed by last name, first letter at Amazon.com. In this case, the name is Ali Miller, all right? And apparently the email is Ali M at Amazon.com, okay? Who is an AI specialist in this case. Okay, and these are the four informations that we can, three information we copied out from LinkedIn, and one email, the email addresses is what we guess, okay, or we scrap, all right, in a way, okay? And of course, we using these email patterns. Let's say, for example, the CTO of Amazon is David Johnson, by the name of David Johnson. What is his email? Can you guess? I guess the example is, the answer is quite straightforward. David J at Amazon.com. All right. So is another question to pose to you is then what would be the email address of Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world, right? Okay. Apparently his email is jeffb at Amazon.com. Okay. But the challenge is how we can find the email patterns. On our side here is we don't do it on a manual basis. We do it on an automated basis. Okay. So that means by the time that you have finished found one email, we might have found 100 email already, all right, using a software, our software, and so on, right? So this is one example of how we can actually find the email of any decision maker that you want to reach out in that way, but you have to find a pattern first, okay? But however, I would like to highlight one thing is not to be too happy first, because whatever email you have found or we have found might not be correct. Okay, might not be correct. because people might leave a very old profile on the LinkedIn without updating when they switch to a new company. It always happens, right? Okay. And secondly, you might have guessed the email patterns wrongly. Okay. You might have guessed the email patterns wrongly, and you send out and it's going to bounce back. So what we will do as a next step is verify whatever we have got. And typically, I can tell you, despite spending great deal of time to actually find 100 email at your odds, and end up, you would experience 50% is invalid, all right? As much as 50% is invalid, all right? That is a sad news, all right? But however, that is the so-called process of how we can actually find an email of our own. Okay, so and the next sections, this is also very important because just imagine if you have a list of contacts, you have got 10,000 or whatever, from whether you want to scrap yourself or you want to leverage on our data or whatever, all right? So without the effective email message, you wouldn't get any response, okay? So in these sections, I would like to share with you some templates of how you can craft a good, cool email campaign so that you can get people to respond back to you, to keep them engaged, to get them to do whatever you want them to do, okay? So there's some strategy behind a psychology part of it and the marketing part of it, okay? So one thing, you must start to personalize the email campaign with as much data as you can do. All right, for example, this is one example you can see here. Hi, name, and I would like to speak to someone from company. All right, so in previous example, Ali Miller, working in Amazon as an AI specialist, you would have 3 information on your hand already apart from email: name, company name, and the job functions. All right, so for example, in this case, you can actually personalize in a way like, hi, Ali Miller, all right, I would like to speak to someone from Amazon. All right, so it looks very personal. It looks very personal. So personalization is the key to success in your email campaign. You can even do it on subject title. Before they open up the email, they see their own name on the email itself. All right, and of course, all these things is we have our software that do a personalizations for you, rather than you have to do it one by one, right? It's just not possible. So you might be using some kind of email marketing software already. So for some of you, you might know how to do it already. But for those who are new, we have a software to actually help you to do a personalizations at scale, you know, or you don't have to do it on a one-to-one basis. Okay. And secondly, this is even more important, segmentations. Okay. A segmentation, it simply means that you can actually segment your data typically by 2 ways, by industry and job function. So what is the reason why we do a segmentation, right? The clear purpose of doing segmentations is to have a personalized message or story that concern that individual. Okay, I would like to start with a segmentation by industry first. Let's say, for example, you are sending to retail, all right? And currently, we are all aware that due to COVID-19 pandemic, you know, retail, all right, and hotel, you know, and airlines, they're suffering the most, okay? So you must be able to personalize your email message if you want to reach out to these segments that suffer the most from COVID, and to tell them a story or the message of how you can actually help them to improve further, whatever, all right, to improve their business. Yeah, I mean, put yourself in the shoes of that target audience and tell a message that solves the problem in that specific industry. All right, then they will have more attentions to be engaged by your email copy. Okay, so that's the first thing. And of course, if possible, if in this case, on the same case, you might be sending to technology firm as well, technology company, who might be flourishing right now. All right, they are actually gaining attractions, you know, and so on. They are doing good, you know, and so on. Okay, but the message you cannot apply those that you send to retail to the technology company. So you must switch the message when you send to technology company. Back to this example. So you can actually put it even just one phrase, just one sentence, that you can actually personalize the story or the message that appeal to that specific industry. Like for example, I hope this email finds it well. I wanted to reach out because we can help your restaurant, okay, to do some kind of digital transformations or whatsoever to bring it online, for example. That is for what do we call restaurant, all right? So we can switch the message of I hope we find well. I'm reaching out to you because we wanted to blah blah blah. You know, then you send a different message to those technology company. Okay, in a way. So my point is personalizations and segmentation is really, really important to help you to capture even more attention from those target audience that you're sending to. Okay, and of course, well, what do we call second thing is you can even do a personalization, so-called segmentation based on job functions. For example, the way that you speak to CEO as opposed that you speak to a CTO, okay, a IT person, the message should be different. For CEO, what they concern is revenue, profits, business directions, and so on. All right, top level. And when you speak to a CDO or IT manager or head of IT, you might want to write more into like how you can solve their perhaps digital transformations, you know, operation efficiency, software solutions, and so on, you know, so or data security that concern them the most. So different message you should drive to different persons, you know, to actually keep them engaged and to respond to you. So remember, personalization and segmentation is truly, truly important in cold email outreach campaign when you do incorporate this campaign into your marketing channel, right? So, and of course, always ended with call to action plan, right? CTA, all right? And as you can see from here in this example, it starts by a little introductions, okay, of their own, and followed by how we can solve the problem. And lastly, can I have a 15-minute call, for example? It's a call to action plan. Perhaps you might want to switch the CTA, like register a webinar now, put a link, registrations, right? So that is another way of CTA. So you might have a different CTA depending on purpose of your email campaign, right? Okay, so that is an example of how we can actually craft an effective email message and get result out of it, right? So, and also I share with you another two more example, all right? So basically, 1, 2, 3, and based on some certain research, right? All right, it's good to actually to remain as 3 paragraph, okay? There's some psychology research. I don't know why, all right? We like to see 3, okay? Whereby we want to see 3 paragraph, okay? And that's it, not 4 or not 5 or not 1 or not 2, 3, okay? Keep it as simple as 3 paragraph. And also, if just in case you have any bullet point that we want to include, keep it as 3 bullet point also, 3, not 4 or not 5, okay? So if you can, all right? So this is how you can actually craft out email message, all right, in this, from this example. So all this will be shared to you, by the way, all right? And lastly, there's some client, they might be asking me, oh, wow, okay, this kind of email message is boring, you know, it's too boring, all right? So what to do, right? Okay, so yeah, you can actually craft in a HTML-based email type. That means it comes with images, a link, you know, a text in big headline, and so on, all right? No problem, all right? Whatever you see every day, right, is HTML-based email content. You can actually do that, okay? But I would suggest you to test and measure, okay? Test and measure which one work for you. Or you can have a hybrid of everything, or both, to incorporate into your email campaign strategy, all right? So you can have a hybrid of both, all right? But one thing to take note is plain text email like this, although it looks boring, but this is a type of email that will capture attentions, all right? People will feel like you are sending to me, myself, you know? So rather than you send to everyone, all right? So promotional HTML, promotional email content type is apparently it's advertisement or marketing message. You know, people tend to have a less response towards HTML-based email content. So, but after all, you can just try, depending on purpose or objective of your campaign, you know, so both you can try. Look at the open rate and so on and response rate, then you can justify which one works for you. All right. So that is email contents. And last section of this webinar today is follow-up strategy. Okay, follow-up strategy. Because just now initially I did mention that a lot of email marketer, when they send out 10,000 of email, they say, hey, not working, so I'm just give up, so email marketing is dead, is no more effective, so, but let me tell you a reason why. Because you lack a follow-up strategy, okay? My point is a data-driven follow-up strategy that I'm going to actually cover in the next 2 slides. Okay, so typically people from our experience and also some research that's been done, you would only get the response after 4 to all the way to 4 to 7 email to follow up on the same individual to get them to respond to you. Okay, so typically, all right, so it's 4 to 7, all right. So what I'm saying here is you must perform some kind of a email follow-up, or so-called, we call it a drip email campaign, okay, based on some data collected or trackings to actually to perform what is the next message to that same individual. I'm not saying to send out a 4 to 7 exactly similar message with the same subject title to the same person, then they're going to complain you, right? So, but you must know what are the actions that they took on the email content, whether they opens or they click and so on, all right, to determine what are the next message that you should send to this individual, all right? So here is the flow charts. It looks a little bit too much, too many branch and so on, but it's very simplified versions of what I'm about to talk about, right? So let me get back to here. All right, so you can actually determine first, all right? You can determine first. Well, let's say, for example, today you send out the 10,000 email addresses, email contacts, and typically you will expect like 2,000 people who's going to open our email, right? So 20%, 2,000 out of the 10,000, 20%, right? And 80% wouldn't even bother to open your email campaign. Let's face it, 80% will never open your email. All right, so only 20%. So my point is how you can play around with this 20% or 2,000 email and 8,000 email to send out a follow-up message in a way that perhaps after 3 days, for the fact that these 2,000 people has already opened up the email and read our contents. What are the next message that you want these 2,000 people to see? Okay, that is a follow-up number 1. And what about the 8,000 people who doesn't open your email, right? So you can actually tweak a little bit on the subject title and send out another email campaign to these 8,000 people to further boost up the open rates. And typically you will get another 2,000 out of it. You will get another 20% out of it, which we would be talking about 20% times 8,000 is 1,006. So all in all, by resending a campaign to the unopened, those who doesn't open, you will capture 2,000 from a first campaign and 1,006 from a second campaign, which is in combined 3,006. Okay, 3,006. Okay, so you can boost additional reach by just sending to those who didn't open an email. All right, so that is the first one. And of course, if you want to go at once, you can even do some kind of link tracking. Okay, link tracking. It simply means that you can actually incorporate a multiple link in your email content. For example, in one of our first newsletter, there's a link A, okay, that link to product A informations, okay, and perhaps you might have 100 people who click on link A, okay, let's say, okay, and link B that link to product B, and perhaps you might have 200 people who click on link B. And link C, link to product C, and you have 300 people who click on link C, 100, 200, and 300, okay? So what I'm saying is you should, based on this tracking, okay, those 100 people who will click on this link A to send a further information that explain in more detail about product A, rather than B and C, just A, to these 100 people who already previously clicked on link A. Okay, Same goes to another 200 people who has already clicked on link B, further message that talk about link B, okay, product B, and same goes to C, okay, and so on. All right, so this is what I'm saying is data driven. You know, if they open up the email, if they click on certain link and perform a next marketing message, a targeted messaging to what they perform right inside the email, okay. But the good thing is, the good news is you can actually automate all this campaign like tracking and so on with the software that we have, right? We have a software to actually help you to set up all these drip campaigns and plan a whole series. And even you can actually set up one times and run by itself, you know, the sequence run by itself, all right? So that's how you can actually follow up based on this flow chart that I've shared with you right now, right here. Okay, and slowly turn this 10,000 into a red color here, or leads, all right? Slowly to turn this 10,000 email to as much as you can, all right? Of course, I couldn't promise you 10,000 people is going to respond to you, but if you just send out a first campaign and you give up, perhaps a first campaign might return you 5 leads. If you do a follow-up strategy, you might have 20 or 50 leads, okay? That is why the follow-up strategy will have to optimize the result by double or triple, all right? If you have a proper plan that track all these things, okay? And just now I also mentioned that we have a software to actually help you set up all this sequence or drip campaign, right? And lastly, I would like to also take in one more last advice, all right? Although it's not going to be a top topics, important topics in this webinar, but put it on an omni-channel. Bear in mind that omni-channel is important because once people that click on your email contents already, they land on a landing page, okay? So, and you must have some kind of tracking using a Facebook pixel and so on, so that you can actually remarket to them when they land back to their Facebook or whatsoever. Keep follow up with them, all right? Because it's so costly to acquire leads. And so once you acquire, right, you must have every touch point wherever they go, follow them, you know, using a Facebook ads or Google ads or whatsoever, right? So make it omni-channel if you can. Where the starting point, you can start from a B2B. I mean, email campaign, sorry. Okay, so that is what do we call the flow chart. And the last section for today, so I would like to share with you how Wave Evolution can actually immediately help to launch your campaigns to reach out to your intended audience with our solutions. I will keep it very short, all right? So, and there'll be Q&A sessions after this. And firstly is we have the software that I've mentioned to you, all right, that is very easy to use with drag and drop, you know, functions and so on, that can track open clicks and blah, 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 and for data-driven purpose, you know, and you can actually send out email campaign to nurture your leads further, and on an automated basis, right? So we can actually perform that kind of actions whatsoever, all right, with our software solutions. And secondly, in the middle, you can see B2B database solution is what I've shared with you just now in Malaysia and Singapore mainly, all right? But however it is, we do have scrapping solutions that we can actually leverage on a software platform and so on to actually help you to reach out to your target audience anywhere in the world, all right? Anywhere in the world. So we can actually help you to get that, all right? And lastly, just in case that you're not confident to run it on your own, or you need a better advice from us to actually help you to perform the cold email, we have the marketing services to help you to roll out the whole marketing campaigns, and even all the way to omni-channel, right, and so on, right? So that is a little bit about our marketing solutions, our software, our solutions. Okay, you can actually book a one-to-one consultations with me personally and our sales consultant Renee and Wan Chi. The email is there, right? The email is there. All right, or perhaps if you want to book it now, you can actually leave a contact me in chat now. All right, contact me in chat now. All right, so then we would schedule another sessions. You know, just in case for those of you who plan to actually to go with us, you know, by the end of this month, we have a 10% off our marketing services and so on. So if not, then it's okay. So, but that is an offer for only attendees in this room. Yeah. So we are offering to you. And lastly, I would like to share 3 quotes before we end this webinar. This is 3 interesting quotes that I think is very, very meaningful. Okay, email has an ability many channels don't, creating valuable personal touch at scale. All right, so it simply means email I'm comparing to Facebook and Google and so on. First thing is you couldn't personalize it, right? Okay, you couldn't personalize it like dear blah blah blah. And secondly, you wouldn't know how Google and Facebook internal algorithm works that display your ads to just anyone. All right, so it could be displayed to a competitor or whatsoever. All right, while email channel is different. All right, if you send to a HR of manufacturing, that is a HR for manufacturing. No mistake whatsoever. Exactly your intended audience. That's all. All right. So while Facebook or LinkedIn ads or whatsoever, so there could be some kind of mistake that you were never aware, right? So that they display to just anyone that they think is right, right? So email doesn't work that way. Email, if you send to CEO means CEO, so no mistake, all right? So that is one of the benefit of why email is so important in B2B marketing. Secondly, just now I mentioned a lot about personalizations, whereby you can actually personalize with the first and last name and even company name and so on, right? So it's meaningless to do so if you don't make your content relevant. Okay, what do I mean by relevant content here? Just now we have mentioned, all right, you must know the pain point that they are facing right now, like COVID-19, the retail and restaurant is suffering a lot. You must send a relevant content to this group of people and tell them what's next, then followed by personalizations. Okay, personalization is just a bonus additional supporting point, to increase the engagement rates from your email campaign. But relevant content matter the most. Okay, make sure that you send relevant content to the right persons before you can actually get a more response out of it. All right. And lastly, this is what I like the most. The best marketing doesn't feel like marketing. Okay, the best marketing doesn't feel like marketing. It simply means that people don't feel like you're selling or market to them. All right. Just now I compare between the plain text email as opposed to HTML-based email campaign, right? So what is the difference? All right. Plain text email tends to be very much like you're sending from this person to me. All right, so there's nothing selling. All right, so it's just some kind of ideas that you want to express to me through some cold email, whereby promotional based kind of email content like HTML based is tend to be very much selling. Buy now, click here now or whatsoever. It looks like totally a marketing message. All right, so this is basically the 3 codes that I would like to share with you as a summary of everything. And I hope that after these sessions today, you would have new inspirations, new idea, new insights of how actually email could be a secret weapons in your B2B marketing and lead generations to further drive more business, improve your top line and bottom line of business. And yeah, so I end my presentation right here and I open up the floor to Q&A, and let's see if we have any questions. Just feel free to, any questions that you have? Let me see. Okay, so we have first question from Eugene. All right, I have a first question from Eugene. Eugene from CMA, right? Okay. So I agree that the target audience are decision maker and influencer, right? But how to prevent the campaign from being sent to them were not blocked by their server or something dropped to their junk mailbox or so on. All right. So, okay. So basically, yes, I think your concern is pretty much on how to go into inbox, right? Okay. So I would say, yeah, there's some strategy behind, and also from a marketing perspective and technical perspective. For example, your content if possible, draft in more text and rather than more JPEG and so on. Okay, because email content with more images and so on could actually give some kind of we call that a spam score, to increase the spam score that will eventually make your email drop into junk, all right? Drop into junk, all right? So, and there's something to take note. And of course, secondly is I would like to highlight one thing is definitely the technical aspect of it. So for example, if you're using some kind, depend on what service provider that you're using, all right? So if a certain service provider, they don't maintain their IP reputations, whatever email that you send, you know, so even your content is good, low spam score, whatever you send out, it might also, you know, drop into the junk if just in case your service provider, email marketing service provider doesn't maintain their IP, you know. So while for us is we have a very good IP reputations because we partner with one of the leading we call it a mail server that service some of the largest brand like Microsoft, Avis Car Rental, you know, Trivago, you know, Honeywell, you know. So in other words, you know, so when you send an email campaign through us, we are sharing the same IP reputation as those brands that I've just mentioned just now. Okay, so yeah, so how to make your email content into inbox is, yeah, both marketing and technical part of it. Okay, so I hope I answer your questions there. Any more questions from anyone? Perhaps, let me see. Okay, so another question from Leot. What is the best percentage to say that your email marketing is working? All right. So what is the best percentage? All right. I would say it depends on, I'm sure you're referring to open rates. If you can actually getting any open rates of between 20 to 40%, although 40% is pretty high, okay? If you can get anything like above 20% is considered success, it's considered good enough. But of course, in marketing, right, you would need to have measure more than just open rate, like for example, a response rate, you know, CPL, you know, cost per lead and so on, you know, how much you put the money on email campaign and how much you get back in terms of sales and, you know, and so on. So it's important metrics also, you know, so to measure whether email marketing works for your organization or not, right? So, but typically if you can achieve a metrics of open rate based on open rate, then it's considered it's quite good. Yeah. Above 20% is considered quite good. Yeah. So sorry, I see some Q&A sections here. All right. So these are the what do we call and also I would pick some questions from those chat, right? Okay. Okay. So Yap Hui Ming, oh sorry, Nixon. All right, Nixon Chang. Okay. We have experienced our email server being blacklisted as a result of email blasting. How can we avoid that? Will company be able to set up temp email for cold email purpose? Yes. I think Nixon has got a point. You know, so when you send out in cold email randomly, right? So there's one risk, okay, whereby if you don't send it right, especially to the right person and not relevant contents, you might experience some kind of difficulties in terms of your server being blacklisted. So that could be another issue that you need to address also when you roll out this cold email campaign. You know, so you can actually set up a temporary domain, like for example, if your company is abc.com, all right, so you can actually put up abcemail.com, all right, to get a new domain, and new hosting is pretty cheap, you know, so you can actually get it like less than $100, you know, per year, you know, to have a hosting of a new email, and you just use that new email, all right, to actually to distribute your email content for cold email purpose. If you really want it to be 100% safe, okay, from your existing domain, just in case you've done some mistake, right? Okay, you'll never know, all right? So it caused some blacklist issue. But if you really want it, suggest you to actually register a new domain and new hosting, and just use the new domains for cold email outreach purpose. Yeah. Okay. So and just for some of you that you probably coming late, right? So the video of this what we call webinar is going to share with you after the sessions, and together with the slides. Not to worry. Two things: the video and also the slides will be emailed over to you. Okay. So Nixon, you have more questions about using Gmail, right? For as a sender email. Not really encouraged, because it's good to actually to get a domain name, because if you're using a Gmail to send out, it doesn't establish that kind of good image, right? Because people will feel like, hey, you're using a Gmail to send out to me, so it doesn't having that kind of a good reputations for yourself. You know, so it's good to actually to register a new domain, you know, and just use that new domain for purpose of cold email. Yeah. Hope I answer you, Nixon. Yeah. So yeah. Any more questions from anyone? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So if nothing much, then I guess we would end this session for the day. And really appreciate everyone from joining this session today. I hope that this session will bring you some kind of new ideas. And again, if you have any questions or whatsoever, just feel free to what do we call, email to us, right? Email to us. Yeah. So thanks everyone for joining this. Thank you.